Friday the 19th bug with the way this show has started. It is 4:07. Hopefully, like I've said before, you have started 2012 off in the manner in which you've wanted to do so. It has not been the greatest start of a year for me, and we're looking forward to better days ahead. And so, without any further ado, first we're going to check this phone line to see if this is a call for me. Hello, you're on the air. It is not. And so, we will kick off this show by talking about the playoffs. Playoffs. That's right, folks. We're going to talk about the playoffs. Last weekend's games were uninspiring until the final game, as I'm sure you all know by now. The playoffs kicked off with Houston and Cincinnati doing battle in a rematch game that happened during the season. And essentially, one play turned the entire game around as Mr. J.J. Watt picked off a softly thrown pass by Andy Dalton and returned it for a touchdown. And the Bengals could not catch up after that point as the Texans went on to victory. Arian Foster rushing for over 150 yards in the game. Basically, Houston beat Cincinnati at their own game. And now this week, Houston gets to take on Baltimore in another rematch game, which we'll talk about in a moment. The second game, another game that was pretty uninspiring for a while as the Saints and the Lions did battle. The Saints offense is absolutely clicking on all cylinders. With that, in their last 5 games, I believe they've scored either 40 or 45 points. In fact, they've scored 45 points in the last 3 games. I believe they scored 45 points in all 3 games. And they are steamrolling their way towards the Bay Area as they get ready to take on the 49ers this weekend. The Lions were gallant. They played extremely hard. They just did not have enough weapons. And, unfortunately for them, they just ran into a better team. I guarantee, had that been another opponent, possibly the Giants, possibly Atlanta, possibly even the Niners, the Lions may have won. But the Saints are on a roll, and basically the right team won. The next game, the New York Football Giants. It's funny when you do sports broadcasting or any type of broadcasting or any type of anything public. You say statements that you hope will get yourself noticed, or you say things that you think is true that people will look at and say, wow, somebody said that, and it happened to be me. And I point blank at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night said the Giants needed to channel the old Giants, the old school Giants, and basically find a running game that they haven't had all season long, find a defense that hasn't shown up all season long, and figure out a way to shut down Atlanta. And sure enough, I awakened to the Giants' complete domination of this team. I'm still speechless that this team, who has not shut anyone down this year, I mean, Seattle's torched them. A lot of different teams put up, the Redskins torched them. And for the Giants on defense to shut down that Atlanta offense and put up enough points to win and hold the Atlanta offense out of the end zone sends a big message for those in Green Bay who we're going to play this weekend that we are for real. And of course, the epic game of the weekend. I don't think anyone thought that Denver had a true chance of beating the Steelers, but Tim Tebow is, playing football at a level that defies logic. And I know I've heard this week how the religious people are saying that this game was a blessed game because Tebow threw for 316 yards, and they're trying to compare that to John 3:16, the Bible verse, "For God who loved the world, who gave his only begotten Son, and whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." Well, they're trying to say that scripture was significant in this game. They're trying to say that since there were 3 referees on the field, I believe one was named Luke, one was named Mark, and one was named John, Supposedly they're trying to say that there was some type of biblical implications in this game, and thus the miraculous play that won the game enabled Denver to move on over the Steelers. Do I buy into it? I don't mock things that I don't understand. And so therefore, if there are people out there that believe that God is blessing the Denver Broncos, then it's more power to them. If there are people out there who don't believe it and just think that Tebow is lucky, then it's all on them. It's okay. Believe what you want to believe, but just don't discredit or disrespect those who don't think the same way you do. What can you say? They beat the number one defense. Yes, it lost some players during the game, but the bottom line is they got it done. And now this week, they get to mess with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And we're going to find out more about Tim Tebow, more about the Broncos, and even more about the Patriots, because obviously the whole world is expecting the Tebow magic to come to an end, but we shall see. And so now we're on to round two, but before we go to round two, I would like to give a big shout out to, to the Bengals and to the Lions and to, the Steelers and to the Falcons for having good seasons. Sometimes it's just all about matchups, and unfortunately they ran into the wrong team at the wrong time. And we'll be ready to talk about the second round games on 89.7 KLES FM after this.
My friend John and I think the road rules. We've got lots of ideas on where to go. Unfortunately, we're a little low on bucks.